Sharing some of the words from the players. I'm Drakos. This is Caedrel. You're joining us now at the Cash Desk for SK Gaming versus Heretics. It's going to be a banger. We're like Zaya and Rakan here.
Lovers duo.
And unplayable in meta, sadly.
Sad. I'll be the
That's
engage.
not true. It's kind of playable, but not super playable.
Are you going to be my hyper carry? Are you good at farming? Are you good at farming? I'm going to take that.
You've seen me play League of Legends, so you know that I'm bad at both of those things.
So for context, Drakos can play 3 champions. Aphelios, Bard, and Yasuo.
That's true.
They can't last it on Aphelios and on the Yasuo, but he's good at all inning. He knows when to go forwards. And he's read all the Aphelios guns, so he knows exactly which one to use.
In order to understand the O10 power spike, you need an intimate understanding. You know, I'm really just trying to gain greater understanding by feeding, which we'll hope is not the case in our games today. Of course, players all playing from home today due to some health issues on the Heretic side. But of course, just going to have to see how this affects performances across the board. For now, we're just going to assume that everything will come up the same, and we'll hope that everybody can put on their best performance. But as we look ahead towards picks and bans, frankly, Caedrel, I want to see some spice. I don't want to be the only O10 Yasuo on the stage today.
Ready to play. Gamers to get into draft. And wow, look at those teddy bears. Not even headphones off.
Let's play a game.
Oh god.
How do you think everyone who came here tonight is going to explain to their friends what they did when they show them shots of pictures of teddy bears playing computer games on stage? How do you think that conversation's gonna go? It's gonna be like, Mom, I'm checking out esports tonight, and she's like, you mean that thing where the teddy bears pretend to play League of Legends?
You know how when your parents are telling you it's all like a fantasy game and none of it's real and stuff like that, and you're like, no, I'm so immersed.
The immersion is real. Let's watch a broadcast.
Just pause the game and come to dinner. And you just see these teddy bears like on the Instagram stories and stuff, just playing without headsets on.
And I'll tell you that right now, you can't get that in football.
But it's even harder for us to explain because we're casting them.
That's true. But luckily we have a pick and ban that we can explain, which so far has been stock standard. Elise, you used to be able to call it a Markoon target ban, but I think generally people have just appreciated how strong it is.
Yep.
Caitlyn, Draven as well, just premier picks. And for Jackspektra especially, his one really standout game was on the Draven. So not only teddy bears, we also have a picture of Ruby wearing a Teemo hat there in the Heretics house. He's playing from
the immersion really is real, isn't it? You gotta love it. There's the SK boys in the office. Yeah, Xante ban coming out, target against Evi. We'll see what the last ban is here for Heretics. Lucian Nami still up. Despite the nerfs, it's still pretty powerful in this patch. Gonna take away the Ashe support, which I think has seen a lot of success in getting bot push. We saw Trimby pilot it perfectly. If you can land those arrows, you can get that bot push. It's so important. But Markoon has found success on 2 champions so far this split. One of them is Elise and one of them is Sejuani. So gonna take that one away from Jankos, who's more of like a Wukong kind of vibe player. So we'll see what he picks up in the jungle.
I'm guessing maybe Wukong or vibe.
You're so smart, Drakos. You're on it today. You're on the ball.
Thank you.
And Ruby's got a lot of Azir games. So what do you think you'll play?
Okay, well, actually, I would be surprised if they just immediately slam that one. I think one thing that we've learned, especially with the success of G2 recently, is that while scaling feels safe in the vast majority of these best ofs, that oftentimes if a team is good enough at pressing a lead in the mid game, it can fall apart very quickly, and Heretics may try to do just that. Lucian locked in. Again, hit on 13.1B, but definitely not taken out of the equation.
No.
Probably just the Nami.
Yeah,
stage, right?
I mean, they can take away something now if they want to leave the Nami till 3rd, you know. I'd be surprised if they pick up a jungler. It's not like it's going to get taken away from them. SK ideally want to take something like the Sylas or a Kali or a Caedrel. But there's the Azir for Ruby. So they want to take that away from Sertuss, so it's a denial pick, so they can pick the Nami on 3. Now, SK, what do? Do you want to take away the Nami? I doubt it. They probably want to go in a different direction for bot lane. Okay, they are going to take away the Nami. But what do you pair it with?
If it's Ezreal, I'm going to be very sad.
Yeah, I'm going to be a sad bee as well, because I feel like if you're going to pick away Nami, there's 2 champions that work really well. One of them's Draven, and one of them's Caitlyn. That was played today in the LPL.
Ooh, Zeri Lulu angle.
Could be something that they just go towards. So despite there being so many changes, things stay the same. I think Akali would be great here for Sertuss. It's just a case of whether he wants to pick it up. Any assassin, I mean, the desk was touching on it.
Yeah, they're hovering on the champion pool there, a lot shared, but of course, what is the option going to be here? Now, you're going into an Azir, you know the matchup. What is the option? For now, it's going to be Lulu. Okay, so essentially what this means is that Sertuss is really going to suffer in the second ban phase. He is going to lose at least 2 more champions. It's going to mean that if Heretics want to, they can set Ruby up for success by banning away 2 champions who are good into the Azir.
Yep.
But it also means that Jankos is going to suffer.
Yeah, for sure. I think a Kali and a Kassadin ban is probably best here for Team Heretics. We'll see what happens in the jungle phase. Of course, they can take away things like the Wukong and the Vi from Jankos, but I'd be a little bit hesitant because he can still go towards things like the Trundle. I don't think he'll find too much issues going to 4-5. The most experienced player in this entire series next to Evie, right? The veterans, the boomers, as you will, with the Zoomer team. So he won't struggle in the 4-5. Evie won't struggle either. They've left their two most experienced players to find a champion in 4-5.
Really taking their time here, debating what the strategy is going to be in the second ban phase as well. There is room to just leave things open to give away 1 or 2 champions, and it seems like, okay, wow. So they see the Zeri, the Lulu, and the Sejuani, and they say that what we're actually scared of is a full-on front-to-back team composition. They're not as worried about Sertuss' individual comfort picks. They're worried about Irrelevant getting the Scion again, which we have seen from him before, and it's a champion that loses very gracefully, and obviously, woo! That's one of our camera guys. He's great.
Chilling in the audience. Yeah, I think the Scion ban's good, but Renekton is another one which I'm a bit worried about for them. I think the Scion ban makes sense, but I think they have to commit 2 top bans. You can't really put your hand in both baskets when you're trying to ban out in this case, because if they were to ban a Kali here, I think Kassadin can still work. So they have taken the Renekton. So they've gone full top side. I don't think Sertuss will struggle to find a mid pick. And I would be surprised here if SK don't take away the Wukong. I think it's very standard meta picks coming out from both teams. I mean, it's game 1, you know, don't test the waters too hard. And it's also, remember,
it's game 1 in a best of 3, and it is an elimination series. Loser of this series will leave the season, will come back in a few weeks and have to start from scratch, whereas the other team will get another opportunity tomorrow to prove that they are worthy of the top 4. Neither of these teams are expected favorites to come out against tomorrow as tomorrow's opposition, but you never know. A good showing today could shift the story, shift expectations in their favor. For now, though, the Jax is going to be locked in.
Yep.
And with so many top lane champions already banned away, see what Irrelevant wants to bring to the table. His Jax was pretty good, so you have to feel that he probably knows the other side of the matchup.
I think Gnar would just be the easy pivot. They can go for Ornn as well if they want a full tank, but I'd be a bit worried about their damage share. So here comes the melee mid for Sertuss. Doesn't look like it's going to be a Kali. Looks like they're going to go towards a Sylas, but I say that there's the Gnar picked up instantly for Irrelevant. I think it's a very obvious draft coming from both teams. I don't think they're really hiding anything or surprising us with anything. I mean, I'm waiting. You know, let's see what Jankos cooks up, you know? What has Jankos got for us? Because he's been targeted a little bit. Surely he'll have something of interest. Graves, maybe?
While every other pick thus far has been, I would say, meta standard to a T, kind of as expected. There are enough junglers banned away now.
Nocturne.
If he picks Jarvan.
It would.
Kindred.
Okay.
Jankos on carries.
Oh, he's going to go for it.
I actually liked Jankos' Graves last time he played it. It was pretty solid performance.
Did win.
Ooh.
He's gone for it. So Jankos has decided to treat us tonight with a little bit of a carry champ. Not going to get the Sejuani first pick tonight. Gets banned out. Giga Chat Jankos just says, I'll pick a carry then instead. You can see him on the screen there. He's got fleet footwork.
I think the big thing right now is that in terms of overall ease of execution, SK Gaming, much clearer. You've got a Sejuani, you've got that reliable engage. Evie is weirdly, or Ruby with the Shurima Shuffle, is your most reliable form of engage on the side of Team Heretics. So they've definitely put the burden of execution on themselves. A lot of strong champions, but compositionally, they're going to have to pull through as a 5-man if they want to make this work.
Bot lane needs to get ahead. Is that an Eintracht Spandau flag? I think it was. Repping Spandau. But yeah, you're right. Ease of execution. SK has it to a T, front to back. Play for bot side, Gnar can go even in lane. And then similar story for Heretics. They'll have a little bit more mid push to work with in the early game. Isolation, Jack should outscale in a way, but they need to get Lucian Nami ahead in the mid game.
Oh, wow.
Well, they're not here, but the fans are at least.
Always Fnatic. Normally Fnatic fans, you guys are actually always Fnatic. Well played. Here we go, let's get into game. Prime League OTP Fnatic fans in the house. It's time for Heretics versus SK Gaming.
Oh, there we go.
Here we are.
Ooh.
Gearing up for what could be a spicy level 1 on the bottom side. And again, quick shout out to all the Prime League fans, all the OTP fans in the house. Love all of our regional broadcasts. But now focusing in on the game at hand.
Yeah, well, the Fnatic fans can be here to support Adam.
There you go.
Yeah, a little bit of past history.
That's fair.
Ex-teammate.
Sure.
But you know how you were touching on the...
Or they bought the tickets early and things didn't pan out. Which I'm getting some yeahs. I'm like, you know, to be fair, history was on your side, Fnatic fans. It would be pretty reasonable to assume they would have made it this far, but you were wrong.
You were wrong.
Your suffering is going to help make everybody else laugh. But so I hope you can take solace in that.
The finals is next week.
Yes.
And then there's a week break.
And then they're starting over.
Yeah.
It's like they just took
nothing ever happened.
It's like they took a vacation. They're back.
And I think they're scrimming now. I think XL's scrimming now. So even despite being out, teams still keep practice up to make sure they're ready for the next split.
Sure.
But you know how you're talking about, showing your friends League of Legends, look at this is really cool. You send them the link, twitch.tv/LEC. And now the teddy bear cam, I think that's really selling it for me.
I think so too. I'm just impressed that Riot Games over the years has made so many different teddy bears, and that people have.
Is it all come from Tibbers?
Yeah.
Are these supposed to be like little Tibbers?
I always thought with the amount of Lux skins we make that, Tibbers wouldn't be the strongest on the merge front, but it appears that Tibber is winning.
Poros as well. How many different kind of Poros do we have? We've got the brown Poro. That was pretty cool.
I do like that one. Irrelevant little quick Goomba bounce over the top of Evie there, and I think until we get to level 3s, and Markoon going to really be the player that we have to watch, because other than Markoon, not really going to be any big sources of action in the early game, unless Volley wants to get aggressive here.
I'll touch on Markoon in a second. Just one little thing I want to point out for top laners, all top laners out there. When you're playing Gnar or Kennen or Jace, specifically into champions like Jax, starting E is actually really good. Gnar can get autos and hop out when Jax moves close. Jace E is like the gate for move speed to kite out the damage. Evie tried to get the creep there and use E to Q and then get the stun, but he actually cancelled his auto, so he didn't get the damage off, so Irrelevant gets a better trade. And then Kennen E is good for movement speed and attack speed, so the safer option is actually better in a ranged matchup in the level 1 to just auto space more if you can practice it. But here's Markoon. 3 bot side camps into invade. This is exactly the same as the G2 game. Jankos is playing Graves. Yike was playing Graves. They go into top side, they take away their jungle, expecting to find Markoon. Markoon's not here, he's in your jungle, and now your bot lane's exposed to a dive. So Heretics in a bit of a tricky situation here where Irrelevant should be safe. But is Jackspektra and Mersa safe? Can they pull this dive off? TPs might need to be used. Markoon thinks the wave's a bit too small, so maybe on the next one.
Yeah, just a bit of poke for now. He can't just turn his sights back onto the ground, but good call out. History does seem to repeat itself here in the LEC for now. Mersa and Jackspektra just sitting under their tower. Early lane phase very much going in the favor of Exakick and DOS, just in terms of raw pressure. And now that level 3s are ticking around, this will be much easier.
Bigger wave. Oh, the crowd knows it's coming. Little bit of action. Oh, Jackspektra leveled up. That's going to sting a bit.
They're trying to take away the passive from Sejuani. That's going to be big. Knockup down goes in. The TP coming in. Jackspektra trying to put it back. DOS ticking, burning, goes down for first blood. A KO if I've ever seen one.
Ruby rocks up and says, my job here is done. Didn't really need to do anything. They win the 2v3 dive. Smart usage of the heal by Mersa. He used it before DOS could put the ignite down, so they were both full HP. Can he cancel the base? Little bubble over the wall to check. Not going to do it. Exakick's actually going to stay to catch the wave. So the dive backfires. And the beauty of this is Jankos took away all 3 camps from Markoon. But Markoon only took the Gromp. So 2 camps down already. He's going to lose top crab. Jankos, if he wants, could run through mid here to bot side and protect his bot side camps. But basing also works. We'll see what he does. But we'll take a look at that dive again. A little bit scuffed from SK. The wave is bigger, yes, but Jackspektra dings over to level 3 after the 2 melees. So that makes it a bit hard. You'll see Markoon second guess the dive right here. He's like, what, they leveled up? Maybe not. But then they have to commit. They're already gone. Heals used before Ignite's dropped. Polymorph is great, but Markoon Q is blocked by Mersa. Don't even have to use the flash. Jackspektra just dashes. And DOS was tanking, so quick and easy kill.
Yeah, Markoon no passive either. There's just so many things. He's already taking poke. They're already hurting by the time they even really go in for that one. So a lot of small things that turned against Team SK in that instance.
Ooh, heavy.
A little bit difficult to say trade back and forth now. But this is actually very good news for Team Heretics, because when we looked at how these two teams were going to match up, bot lane was one of the big areas that we talked about there potentially being a discrepancy. But jungle, the area where they could have an edge now is Jankos comes into the top side. Nice slow coming out here.
Heavy, he's going to flash.
Jumping out. No!
He's done.
He already flashed. He's done. He's gone.
Yeah.
Quick kill. Nice follow-up on the top side, and everything right now in the early game is going in favor of Team Heretics.
And the beauty of this is Jankos hasn't based, so he took his top camps, took the enemy top camps, then took his second respawn top camps, and now he went for a top gank. Because he needed to base anyway, there was nothing to do top side. But he thought, you know what, I'll go for a top gank. This wave looks a little bit good for a little bit of setup for Evie, and it worked, and now he can clear out his bot camps. And he's going to be so far ahead, this Graves is going to start getting faster and faster on the clear. Markoon's been put behind already. So we'll see what SK can cook up in terms of skirmishes in the mid game, but for now, you can see on the left side of the screen, all the flashes down for SK barring mid lane. Heretics really happy now. It's really hard for SK to look for any kind of plays. Dragon's up soon. I think Jankos can do his blue, his Gromp, go towards Dragon, level 6, and he'll be really far ahead of Markoon.
And again, DOS trying to cancel some bases here, but the jungle matchup was the one we were very interested in, because when you look at K plus A at 14, that top stat line there is just how involved you are essentially in the early game. Both these guys pretty damn involved. Mostly everything that's going to happen on the side of both of these teams is going to come from these junglers early on. So the fact that Markoon attempted to play and it failed, while Jankos got it. More camps hold that thought. He might attempt another one here in the mid lane.
Chain goes wide.
Yeah.
Took the Azir ult one to get the little push going onto Markoon, but yeah, didn't land. And you're absolutely right, Jankos. See, a lot happens when Jankos looks for plays.
Yep.
And he's won both side lanes because SK messed up the dive, and then Jankos found the play topside. Markoon's just here to cover, expecting maybe Jankos to be up here, but he just got spotted on vision on bot side, so Markoon's going to move away. I think Jankos has a really good angle for a Drake here, but he's getting a little bit of vision for his team.
With the Jankos of this kind of lead, already able to take away so many camps, 600 gold individually. Jack's also pulling ahead early on here on the top side, courtesy of that kill.
No flash on Exakick.
Stepping in, Exakick makes it to the wall in time, so does get out to safety, but already Jankos, as you said, bot lane, yes, won for Team Heretics because of a fumble dive from SK, but he helps win top lane. Now he's going bot again, trying to create so much more pressure. And Sertuss, kind of the last remaining member that we can really look at. He's dinged over, he's level 7, he's got a stolen Azir ult. Maybe he can be the factor to make some plays in this early game, but SK already finding themselves about 1k gold down. It's definitely not the early game start they wanted, especially against a scaling pick like the Graves.
Yeah, and like the Jacks as well. It's only really going to get worse in that department. The only
the Azir, I mean,
the Azir,
we could just keep listing the scaling.
Top side is a bit rough in terms of scaling, but as long as their Lucian Nami is ahead, I think they'll be happy going into mid game. Right now, they've got that kill, but they're down in creep, so it's a little bit even. Need to get objectives rolling, I think, here, Heretics. You know, Jankos was bot side for so long, he lost his Raptors. He will ding over to 6 here and get his red, so hopefully he moves down there and looks to contest that. But with Herald spawning soon, we'll see how both teams play around it. With that pink ward on red, you can see on the bottom of the screen there, we'll spot Markoon. That'll be the opening for Jankos to go to Herald.
I think they probably will go for it. There's one thing that is probably the most consistent aspect of the Team Heretics game plan is contesting that 8-minute Herald. And as you highlighted, they have the vision set up necessary to do it. Jankos should be able to solo it, so can just go over the wall here.
Yep, so they sees Markoon. There it is.
Right as it spawns. This is so rehearsed, so practiced, so clean. Now Evie is going to reveal that they're doing it, but because Markoon is on red, there's just no response here. Irrelevant with Gnar maybe could try to get something back. Is just trying to threaten for now, it would seem, and make sure that they have concrete information. But Azir has push in the mid lane as well, so this right here is just clean play from Team Heretics.
Heretics need to respect this now. The whole map knows that Jankos is topside, so their bot lane needs to play safe. Look how far back they are, Jackspektra and Mersa. They're basically hugging their tower, going towards Gromp, seeing if they can find Markoon, who's cross-mapping a dragon, but look how much respect they're playing with, making sure they play really far back, and they're looking for information. But yeah, stock standard so far from Heretics, really well played. See the experience coming out of Jankos, doesn't go for Drake early, make sure he's topside on the spawn timer, red buff warded to make sure that he's safe, and he's not running into any 3v3s, and now he's going to hand the blue buff over to Ruby as well. You expect? Nope, good old jungler, legend. Love it, Jankos, I'd have done the exact same. Second blue buff's overrated for mid laners. They get lost chapter anyway.
They get, yeah,
and they have the catalyst thing as well. I mean,
early on.
Do they really need it?
Yeah, he's got lost chapter.
They have TP. What are they whining about all the time? Just give me the camp. I'm the jungler.
They just complain. Mid laners love it.
And then by 25 minutes, the AD carry's doing Raptors in red.
Yep.
The mid laners is doing Wolves in blue.
Yep.
Your top laner's taking Gromp or Krugs.
Yep.
And now Heretics might be taking
Relevant. Jungler. Maybe nothing left for Irrelevant here. Is tanky enough in Gnar that he'll be able to walk that one out. Throws a house at Jankos and Markoon. Hovering around, but debating if he can go in.
You think a house would do a bit more damage, wouldn't
you? You do think that a house would do a bit more damage,
a literal house?
Yeah.
Is that someone's house, or is not just packing all these houses in his pocket?
Yeah, because normally it's like Jax versus Graves. It's like stick versus gun. You expect gun to win. Doesn't always win.
Yeah.
Gun versus entire house. I'm inclined to lean towards house. But I'm not an architect, Caedrel. Not an architect.
It's quite a small house.
Don't make firearms either, so can't say. We'll need an expert on
What about a Jinx rocket versus the house? See, now that
sadly
that's
we don't know because
we'll find out in
away from
2.
That in Arcane at the end of Arcane. We don't know. We'll have to wait.
Oh my god, it all ties together.
It all ties together.
Maybe Gnar built the house in Piltover. God, this is getting in depth now.
It is.
Maybe we're leaking the script.
That's the thing, is we don't really know anything, but we could unintentionally leak something anyway.
But I know what's going to happen.
No, don't say your Yasuo win wall theory.
Yasuo's going to win wall it. I can feel it. He's going to come out of nowhere and just win wall the Mega Death Rocket, and everyone's going to be safe. I know that's going to be episode 1, season 2. Get the popcorn ready. It's going to happen.
Nope.
SK getting some vision here on the bot side. Here comes the ult on the DOS.
Where's the follow there? Jankos. Good flash out from DOS, just recognizing the kill pressure that they had there. Pink ward, I think spotting Jankos at the last second, so knew that he had to flash. And sadly right now, Jankos is very powerful, and Markoon's not super useful because his respective laners just don't have the damage to follow up his CC. Could change if Sertuss gets down here, but
this is the problem with early game. Sejuani and Lulu, they have good base damage and good CC, right? So despite you being ahead on Graves and being stronger, if you get hit by a Sejuani ult into a polymorph, they're gonna kill you straight away. So the scaling aspect, yes, is in Jankos' favor when he gets things like Black Cleaver perhaps, or building towards his Mythic. He can start shredding to the tanks and will survive the base damage, but at this point it's really difficult. So Heretics are ahead, yes, but the bot 3v3 not really in their favor. It's hard for Jankos to face check.
And we're running out of time on this eye from the Herald, so need to see where they're going to try and apply pressure. Azir seems to be able to build push on his own in the mid lane, so could look to apply it there, but Jankos is really attached to that 4-second recall.
No?
I think trying to shuffle someone who can also shuffle you feels...
The double shuffle. It's a game of ping pong, really, isn't it?
It's the Melbourne shuffle. It's that hard style shuffle.
Oh, yeah.
140 BPM, weird voiceover. You can hear it now.
Jankos is listening to that kind of music as he runs towards bot. Wants to get this Herald down. No wave, though. I think Jankos is just hovering between these two lanes, expecting Markoon to look for a play. No one has cleanse, right? So if Sejuani's in a bush and just throws an ult out, that's a kill. So he's trying to cover mid, trying to cover bot to get the pushes. But yeah, this Herald needs to get dropped, so he's going to run around, wrap into the bot lane brush and place it, whereas Markoon's on the top side, spotted. Heretics could brute force an entire tower here. We'll see how much of the wave Exakick can clear away. Evi's respecting the dive, he's backing off.
It's not really much of a counterplay here. Team Heretics are going to make one by placing the Herald on the bottom side, but Exakick just getting tickled in that exchange, and now ulting looking to kick this one off. Jankos has to step forward, and they're not going to really be able to focus on the tower whatsoever. Leaping past the bubble, the wave will go in, and Jankos can now try to look for the burst, but he doesn't have the damage. Excellent recognition from the side of SK that Team Heretics overstepped there.
Definitely, good punish by Exakick. They get Jackspektra's flash, they get Mersa's heal, but I think Heretics got what they came for. Couple plates, 3 plates taken for Heretics. Markoon didn't get a top dive off. He ran through mid to cover this, and that's why Heretics ran away. They could have turned the 3v2, but Sertuss and Markoon were on their way down. And Irrelevant will get a play top, it looks like. So that's the trade-off. Still a net positive for Heretics. Evi has the TP to come back to lane. Need to look for some plays soon. The Sylas is scaling. We'll get that Rod of Ages slowly ticking up and can go towards side lanes. The Zeri is getting close to the shield, though. I think when they get their one-item mythics, the SK comp will look for fights.
On the opposite side, Team Heretics already bringing in those mythics, plus a little bit of extra. So we see the Cole at 27 stacks remaining for Jackspektra, but they've been falling behind pretty steadily in this bottom lane, despite the early kill that they're able to grab. See if that gets a little bit easier now that the mythics are available, if they can find a bit more kill pressure on the bottom side. The fact that they had to use the flash and heal, as you highlighted earlier, means that it's not the easiest option. But DOS is also flashless, Exakick also heal-less, so maybe there's an avenue to capitalize on those early item spikes.
Dragon spawned. Heretics on vision because of the scuttle, but it looks like they should pick this one up really easy. Markoon's just going to look for some top camps. Maybe he can find this top dive that he's been looking for these past couple of hovers. Evi's full HP though and has ult, so yeah, he just runs away from that. Doesn't even invade the top camps, he's scared. Bit questionable here from Markoon. Dragon's dead. He sees their bot lane down there. He sees Jankos is laning with them to take this tower. Now he's going to move hopefully towards Jankos' top camps, trying to look for something on the cross map, but still in his own jungle.
I think he's going to donate this blue over.
Yeah.
He's not going to Jankos it. I think
surely red buff won't take it, right?
Surely.
Oh, it was so close. It was 1 HP. If it ticked there, that would have been a quick blue buff for the Sejuani, and he would have leveled up to level 9, so I wouldn't have complained.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So here comes... I think Heretics think that the Sejuani might be on Herald here, so they're sprinting across here to stop it from dying. Shocker, not started, so they're going to be able to pick this objective up as well. So what's the trade-off? Exakick's pushing bot, no TPs for Heretics. Did they just get a tower for a Herald here?
Could be the option. Second Herald would be good to have that extra gold.
Is that worth it?
Plates are already down. Exakick breaking open bottom lane does mean that he can finally look to apply his advantage to other areas on the map. Rest of Heretics pushing in mid, maybe looking to immediately use that Herald as Jackspektra steps up and chunks out Sertuss.
Yeah.
Herald goes down, tower goes down. That's the trade thus far. Team Heretics maybe wanting to keep this play going, but the Colin going to come in and delete a lot of these minions. Will at least slow the push down a little bit. No plates. Herald's going to do a good chunk of damage. If they can break mid, it's big for the team.
It's a long con play, and it's going to work out. So a lot of gold goes over to the Zeri, but Heretics traded for map control. They lost a lot of creeps in bot. They should make it so it crashes on the second one, so they can take that second tower a little bit easier later on in the game. And that's going to connect. Top laners just kind of staring at each other, farming, and the rest of the 4 on either side is doing the little bit of macro cooking.
Yeah, I would say a surprisingly quiet game. When we talked about this behind the scenes, we were like, Mark, Jankos, playmakers. Oh, gonna do big things. But ever since SK fumbled on the bot dive, it feels like it's just been a little bit quieter overall. And while Team Heretics don't have great tools to straight up engage plays for kills, their movement around the map has been pretty clean thus far, at least trading up a little bit overall, holding on to 1.5k gold in their favor. And it just feels like we may just continue to see a bit of a quiet game. Again, though, the later we go, I like the scaling on the side of Team Heretics a lot, but execution, again, way harder. They really need to get to those objectives first, get that vision down first if they want to play these fights. Because Sejuani Gnar, pretty easy team fight.
Pretty face roll.
Yeah, pretty face rolly team fight. You kind of just leap in there. Sylas with a Jack Salt, who's basically unkillable. Again, pretty easy team fight.
Yeah, I feel like Sylas and Zeri are the two champions right now in the meta which can just randomly take over a fight, and they have both of them. You know, if Sylas can get rolling, find a good flank, and get a first kill, get a good ult, something like, you know, the Nami ult, or the Jack ult like you highlighted, can do so much damage to the backline. And Zeri similar, if she can get the stacks up and she's untouched and she can deal with the brunt of the CC and get in range, then she's just going to take over. So Heretics actually playing for the 3-man mid here. Ruby and Jackspektra have been grouping up a lot, so you'll notice that Jackspektra's creep score is just falling down slowly to Exakick, who's just being donated all these side lane gold. So what Heretics are doing here is they're just forcing map control and allowing Exakick to get ahead in gold. But for now, Jackspektra is still ahead because of the towers, being in local gold range, and having that kill, I presume.
And having this much passive map control is excellent for any team, and especially for Team Heretics when they don't have necessarily the strongest engage options. You can see they're trying to continue this play on the top side to make sure they trade something else back. They've lost the tier 2 mid. Evi's still in the area, though, can just leap into the wave and delete it. Jackspektra coming in. There's not really much of a big play to be made here. Evi just going to counter-strike and clear the wave, knowing that the objective is all that matters and his life is not under threat. Markoon still hovering, though. But with Mersa here as well, I don't know. Sertuss is also coming up. SK committing a ton of time just to threaten this tier 2 top side.
This reminds me of the old G2 2019 days. They would overstay on a lane to force. But back in those days, people didn't really know how to match it. But I feel like Heretics are matching it pretty well.
Now body block, TP coming in, getting the flash out from DOS. Ruby TPing to the top side. Jackspektra here as well. Irrelevant now coming in as well. Jackspektra just going to dash right out to safety. Scooped back. Irrelevant, there's nowhere to go. Okay, it's just a little charitable kill donation there as Evi wants to keep the play going. Markoon gonna get wild growth, and they will make it out to safety. Evi's still debating if he can chase here, but it's a bit of a difficult game for SK in terms of execution overall. Some uncharacteristic fumbles here from their team.
I like the idea, just the execution is really off. I mean, you can see straight away that TP is just unnecessary.
Maybe it's because they're bears and not people today.
It's like a smork kind of thing. What do you think these bears are emotionally? Like, they like go in smork, we must fight, or are they like?
They have a single eye, so I'm gonna say bad depth perception, most certainly.
I mean, there was a bit of bad depth perception here from SK because the idea is good. Let's maybe force a Azir TP. We just saw them bot. Let's try to get some summoners out, throw some spells, see if they respect it or not. And Heretics didn't respect it. They fought back, but this TP coming in from Irrelevant just so questionable. If he needs to TP, he'll TP next to his team rather than in front of them, because this TP is basically signaling 1, we're going in.
Yeah,
no matter what, we're committing to the dive. SK was all running away at that time, so bit of a fumble. They lost the kill. They did get the Azir TP, but yeah, that's what old G2 used to do. I remember playing against it all the time. You know, you trade towers on opposite sides,
and then you overload a side lane,
and then you'd come into a side lane expecting to trade opposite again, and they're all just standing there. And then you have the TP, invest resources, and here they are again.
If at first you don't succeed, try again. Gonna look for the stun, stolen Jack's ultimate. Gonna make sure that Sertuss is nice and tanky. DOS tanking that one up there. Desperately trying to finish off. Irrelevant is gonna turn Mega, but will he get anything done in time? No, they're finally going to kill Evi and break this tier 2. The only silver lining on the back end of that play is the fact that there's really nothing left on the map. Yeah, that one was so wild, we took out the overlay.
It just made everyone dizzy around the world. So, yeah, Relevant.
They just knew the Fnatic fans were in the house, and they just wanted to lie to them a little bit.
They want to put a 0 next time.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, guys.
See all those zeros? Yeah, you only got a couple more wins in that.
Bro.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Next mid will be better.
Shots.
Next mid will be better. Yeah, shots are done. Shots are done. They'll bounce back. I know they will. If any team will.
Well, in the meantime, of course, just a small overlay issue. We'll get it sorted when we can. We're swapping to photos of the players, it would seem, which is good.
The Bears
doesn't have his Teemo hat.
The Bears have disconnected.
The Bears are no longer here.
But yeah, we just saw top tier 2 go down. I think on the side of Heretics, they picked up the Dragon. So they went 1 for 1 in kills as well. So gold in favor of SK, objectives in favor of Heretics. And they have a lot of scaling. So Dragons help in terms of getting that scaling, getting towards that soul point.
And again, hopefully, after forcing the play for the second time and getting something out of it and getting the tier 2, maybe the team is starting to feel a little bit more on the same page for some of these bigger moments.
Yeah.
Because again, we said ease of execution was on the side of SK, but if they're not all on the same page, that can very quickly fall apart. Jankos now backing up. Shrelia is going to get used just to create a bit more vision control. SK posturing around this Baron, and I wonder if we're going to have the get impatient and flip it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no dragon to fight for. But yeah, it's just a farming game. Hopefully we'll get this resolved as quickly as possible for everyone at home. Just realized it said Fnatic, so maybe this is the spring finals leaked, who knows. Heavy trying to get this bot tier 2. Irrelevant. Does he know he's still there? He's staying around because we can see Exakick was hovering, looking for a shadow, but Ebby is mission impossible. Surprise. Gonna get the wave. No real force here. Heretics is looking for a little bit of topside vision here in SK's jungle. But SK are playing the defense. Sertuss might catch Jankos and Mersa out here. If he takes away the wave, he can try to get a flash, but he's going to decide against it. Level 15 already. Rod of Age is so strong in getting this Sylas up to 16. Oh, Ebby flashed.
Away. Big stun looking for the solo bolo. Relevant flashing back. Just slightly into the same time. Is he fast enough, Ebby? He finds it. The solo kill buffed up by Nami somehow. Will grab that one.
Was he?
That's what it said on the screen.
Okay.
I don't know if we can trust the screen right now, but that's what it said on the
he
screen.
got the assist on the bottom right. Wait. Okay, I don't think there's anything. I mean, maybe someone on Twitter knows, but
we'll have to find out. In the meantime, Sertuss looking to finish these kills off. Markoon leaping into the backside. Jackspektra going to be in trouble. Mersa going to be in trouble. It should be an easy kill onto the side. He's calling. He's running. Jack, can he get his done? He's ticking. He's burning. Mission impossible. It's impossible. He gets outplayed in the end by Sertuss.
Kill goes over to SK. They manage to find Jackspektra, Mersa, and Jankos, and Ebby gets that solo kill. He gets bot tier 2. The whole map is blown wide open, but now SK have got a Baron off the back of Heretics, overextending. TP's coming in. Solo lanes are here to contest. It's a 2 versus 5.
Heavy looking for the stun on the backside. Gets over. Excellent, excellent use of the buffer there. Now getting knocked out. Markoon irrelevant, waiting on the back. Smite, is it available? No, not for Markoon, not quite yet. Ticking down, but there's no jungler in the area as Jankos is dead. Overlays coming back. Baron going down. SK going to grab this one. Team Heretics bot lane caught out and knocked out. Sertuss, man of the hour to make that play happen.
All fell apart there for Heretics. They had so much of a lead. They had top tier 1, they had bot tier 2. Side lanes were both winning. They had mid push. I think Ruby was TPing in. And then just a bit too far. SK find the engage. And they fall, they lose Baron. So now SK have so much standing gold on the map. Mid-tier 1 still up. They can play for bot tier 2 as well. So we'll see some kind of 1-4 come out here for SK. Dragon, I think, is spawning soon. Yeah, it is. So maybe they want to try to control that, stop Heretics from getting towards soul points.
See what they can get done with this first Baron buff. Of course, there's a lot of reliable wave clear on the side of Team Heretics. And you can tell we've gone back to the more basic, less exciting overlay. But it is, you know, holding accurate information currently. And still a 2K gold lead in favor of Team Heretics.
Yeah,
SK just fishing, trying to further establish this, trying to get control of the area. And again, Team Heretics, when their comp falls behind, really they're going to have a terrible time entering this fog of war. They have no true tank. Yes, there's an Umbral Grave on Jankos, which is nice. Yes, he has a smoke screen, but getting vision down when SK hold an area is such a flip.
It is. And the last time these two teams faced up against each other, it was very back and forth. Heretics had the lead. There was a fight around bot tier 2 where I think Exakick on Zeri got like a triple kill. Then the game swung back in their favor, and it was very messy from both sides. And I think we can see that here as well. SK are still down in gold, but they found a way back in despite losing those skirmishes. Managed to find 3, get the Baron, and they're just securing this Dragon area. They should try to force this mid-tier 1 as well. Sertuss can use spells to threaten, take away the Nami or the Lucian ult, use it as the wave crashes to force them back, and then they have to give the tower because they can't soak the damage just like that. But Jankos ulting to commit. Don't really think there's a way they can save this, but I mean, they can put an Azir tower up if it's off cooldown here and hold the mid-tier 2.
It'll be interesting to see SK for now. It seems like the prize that they are looking for is the Dragon. They already got that tier 1. Waves aren't really synced in terms of Baron pressure, so hard for them to full-on force anything past that tier 1. We'll be happy just matching 2 for 2 on the Drakes overall. Ocean Soul, I mean, it's Ocean Soul. It's important for everybody. It's a very big buff to have.
Ocean Soul. Yeah, bot tier 2 is not going to be the next target. Looks like SK just using this Baron to retake some map control. We talked about how the mid game went for Heretics. They sacrificed side lanes for just raw push in mid to make sure they can get that map control. And now SK have kind of recuperated that a little bit. 3 items on the Zeri, building towards 3 items on the Sylas. This is big power spikes for SK that they can now match up against Heretics. You can see Exakick's 300 creeps right now. A level up on Jackspektra too, so if you're looking at anyone to carry them through this late game, it's going to be Exakick on the Zeri.
Yeah, has the tools too. Lulu makes it so much easier, all that movement speed. A lot of short-range characters on the opposite side. If Azir gets good setup with this kind of build where there's no attack speed, it's all about raw AP, maybe you can just scoop up the Zeri, throw her in your front line and make it an easy job done. But again, easier said than done here, as Exakick has proven himself to be a massive threat. We talked about this coming into the series, and we didn't really see it as much in the lane phase due to the fumble on the dive from SK, but Exakick and Doss have been monsters on the bottom side. I think Jackspektra and Mersa, two of the players who have been struggling immensely. Now, we did get to see some good looks from them earlier, but sadly it was them getting caught on the side lane that ultimately allowed SK to get that Baron. Need to see more from them as we go forward into this series, because Exakick is starting to feel more and more like a known quantity. He has shown that big carry potential, and outside of a single Draven game from Jackspektra, I struggle with words today, we just haven't really seen that. Trying to make a difference now, though, as he leaps forward with the culling. Markoon waiting over the wall. Can take out half of Exakick's life bar there, and not really a lot to be done with that pressure, sadly.
Uses the heal, just trying to constantly get mid-push. I feel like Heretics don't really have side laners in the sense of, like, they have Azir who wants to group. Their only real side laner is Ebby. But once they push mid, you can see both of them can go towards those side lanes and pick up these creeps. Once mid's pushed in, they feel really safe to just grab the creeps on side and then do the same thing. Push this out, group up mid again, keep barreling down that lane. And SK can't really respond. It feels like Heretics have 4 range champions, so they just poke their way through, and if they can't, then they just use the culling to do so.
Yeah, and if you can just make the mini-map really big for me.
Yep.
I would like to use this moment to talk to you all about zombie ward. And wards in general, because if you notice the sheer quantity of vision,
it's everywhere
on the scene side of Team Heretics, this is the power of having Umbral Glaive and Zombie Ward. So just think about it for your solo queue games, because right now it's doing a lot of work for Team Heretics, letting them know they can just run face first into Exakick there in the mid lane.
Yeah,
but now it is starting to fade. Only 60 seconds on that Zombie Ward.
Heretics trying to retake some vision on this top side. There they are. There's 2.
Bam!
And
Look
blue
at all
orbs
that
as well.
vision.
You can see the blue orb in the mid side brush towards top side. On the blue buff as well on the left-hand side.
Look at the vision score, 81.
Yeah, it's a hack already. Having Zombie Ward and Umbral Glaive is just a hack to high vision score.
Yes.
That's why all the range support players playing Ashe and stuff with their Zombie Ward Umbral Glaive, stat farmers, that's what I call them.
Absolute degenerates.
Disgusting.
But respectable.
Indeed.
Because it's ward, so it's for the team.
Team players.
Jankos waiting against that wall there.
It's his wall. No one's going to take it from him.
Trying to hit Exakick off to the side. They're just going to delete him right as the fight starts. Mersa, goodbye. TP coming in off to the side. Ebby,
is he going to go
now they're going to keep this fight going. Big stun on 2-3. Ebby getting some work done as Jankos backing off. But again, the front line, the back line rather, from the side of Team Heretics really just cannot get onto these carries. Gnar ready to go. Ebby getting chunked out. Ebby shut down. Eyes on Exakick. Exakick is everything. 1. Looking for 2. He gets 2. Looking for 3. But Sertuss is going to grab it. And SK monstering in the fight. Ruby running for his life. But that is a huge shutdown. SK find the fight. They just make it look so easy.
5-0. SK just run head first into Heretics. No wave, no nothing. Screw it, just engage. Mersa gets blown up. Jackspektra gets blown up. Ebby tries to save the day. And they end up losing the game. Scaling was on their side. There was a Baron up. They had map control. But just like that, they're going to TP on the cannon to keep the reduction on the tower. I believe it looks like it's going to live. There's a wave coming in.
Trying to kill the cannon. It's good. It's over.
Wow, okay. So all of a sudden, the blink of an eye, SK 5-0 wiped them off the map.
They struggled in the bot lane. They struggled on the top side. But in the mid and late game, SK show up.
It's that teddy bear mentality.
They're strong.
We know it now. Just go in.
They have perceived the depth necessary to find the wins here, Caedrel.
That woke us all up, didn't it?
They just made a 2K gold lead look like a 10K gold lead. What the hell happened? We didn't even have enough time for a replay of that fight to talk about that fight.
How did Mersa die so quick? Was it a Sejuani ult just hit him out of nowhere?
I was so focused on Jankos hiding against that wall, trying to think of a joke to make. I wasn't ready for that to happen.
And then Exakick just backflips over the wall with the shock laser, and boom. You blink and you miss it. So SK probably very happy with that one. A lot to talk about. Maybe draft, see what they're going to do on red side, as you expect, you know, Heretics take away blue and figure out game 2. 1-0 up Heretics, 1 game away from being knocked out.
And what an incredibly odd game. I will just say that. Overall, a lot of fumbles.
Yeah.
I think on both sides in terms of execution. You obviously had Team Heretics bottom lane getting caught out, leading to SK's Baron, but ultimately, the fumbles from SK, early mid, did not fumble mid-late once they were grouped up, once they were playing together. And sadly for Team Heretics, when they were going to start to make those little mistakes, it was in the much higher stakes part of the game.
It was. I mean, the game's over. Game-losing play right there. They could have just played slow, waited a little bit, but that's the price you pay when they have hard engage and it lands. And then they try to re-engage, over chase into a Zeri. And the stacks get stacking, baby.
And this is the pressure. Remember, both teams going for, I would say, overall pretty safe drafts, pretty standard meta drafts. The only real risk was allowing a lot of Jankos' picks to get banned away. And now, it's Team Heretics, backs against the wall, already dealing with some illness. So this is just a ton of pressure for any one team, especially a young team for the most part, like Team Heretics, to deal with. Have to see how they recover coming into game 2, because for SK, they got that one. So we'll just have to see what they do. For now, we're going to head over to break. When we come back, more content, more analyst desk, more breakdowns. Maybe they'll talk about that team fight we're going to talk about.
Do.
Stay tuned. Find out.
It was wild.
Wild.